Hey everybody, we're going to talk about the Vegas Golden Knights here, but before we get to that, I just quickly want to say that if you're not yet a subscriber to this channel, please hit that subscribe button. I do videos on a regular basis about topics from across the entire NHL, so if you're a fan of hockey and you're a fan of the NHL, be sure to hit that subscribe button and follow along. Thank you. So, remember early in the season when Vegas was really struggling near the bottom of the conference, and they really were a huge disappointment. They had a very disappointing start to the year. But yeah, they've turned it around, and they've turned it around nicely in Vegas. After a pretty abysmal start, Vegas seems to have finally gotten their shit together, and they've now crawled back into a playoff spot. They are turning their season around. They're 14-12-1 now through 27 games. They have 29 points, good for third place in the Pacific Division. They are 7-3-0 in their last 10 games, and they've won 5 in a row. And those 5 wins in a row have made a huge difference with this team. Obviously, you take those 5 wins away, and they are 9-12-1. That is not good. That would put you way down near the bottom of the league, which is where they were. But they've won 5 straight. They're 2 games above 500 now and trending in an upward trajectory. It seems like they've finally gotten it together, and I would not be surprised if Vegas is the third team from the Pacific to make the playoffs. As this season goes on, I've thought this for a while, but I get more and more entrenched in my position as this season goes on that only 3 teams from the Pacific are going to make the playoffs. Both wild cards in the West are going to come from the Central Division. The Central Division is miles and miles ahead of the Pacific Division as far as great teams. So you're going to have to finish in the top 3 in the Pacific to make the playoffs. You have Calgary, who's in first place right now, San Jose, who's in second, Vegas is in third. Those are your 3 right now. Those are probably your 3 Pacific teams that make the playoffs. After Vegas, you have Anaheim, Edmonton, Vancouver, Arizona, and LA. LA absolutely stinks. Arizona is a young team who's not ready to make the playoffs yet. Vancouver started off really nicely this year, but are trending in a downward direction. And Anaheim and Edmonton are both very mediocre hockey teams. So that leaves that third spot. I think it's going to be wide open between Anaheim, Vegas, and Edmonton as to who gets that spot. But with the way Vegas has been playing lately, with the goaltending they're getting from Marc-Andre Fleury, I think Vegas should be the front runner for that last playoff spot. Calgary and San Jose are the 2 best teams in that division, and I don't think it's close. I think Calgary and San Jose are pretty comparable as far as how good they are, but I think that they are definitely ahead of the rest of the teams in that division. So it's really going to be a fight between a lot of teams for that last third spot, because I think clearly San Jose and Calgary are going to be your top 2. So that leaves a lot of teams fighting for that one spot. And Vegas certainly have to keep playing the way that they've been playing. They can't be like, oh look, we've come back from this bad start. We're in a playoff spot now. Now we can take the foot off the gas. No, because if you take your foot off the gas, Edmonton or Anaheim is going to take that spot. Or maybe even another team, but I doubt it. I don't think Arizona, Vancouver, or LA have any chance of making the playoffs this year. So it's really going to come down to those 3 teams fighting for one spot. And Vegas right now has looked good. After the bad start, some things have changed, and I think it's no coincidence that Nate Schmidt comes back from suspension after missing the first 20 games of the year, and all of a sudden Vegas is good again. Now, Nate Schmidt single-handedly doesn't make the Vegas Golden Knights, but he is essentially their number 1 defenseman, and missing him for the first 20 games was an absolute huge loss for Vegas. So him coming back has made a huge difference. He's a dynamic player on the back end. Much better offensively than most of the other defensemen that they have, and he plays well in his own end as well. He is a well-rounded defenseman. And while he's not a superstar number one, the way that a Drew Doughty, Victor Hedman, Roman Josi type is, he is a very, very important player for Vegas, and a very dynamic player on their back end who does a lot of things well for them. Helps their power play, helps them defensively, helps them offensively. He is a big part of that team. So I do not think it's any coincidence that as soon as Schmidt comes back, Vegas starts playing a lot better, starts winning a lot more games, and overall just climbing in the standings. So it's been a good turnaround for Vegas. I've been impressed with how they've looked over the past couple of weeks, and I think that they need to continue doing this to keep their playoff spot and stay in the playoffs. And with the way that this division looks right now and the way teams are playing right now, I think Vegas has a very good chance of making the playoffs as long as they continue to play good hockey. And I don't think there's much coming after them as far as if they continue to play this way. I don't think Edmonton or Anaheim are going to be able to keep up. However, if they slip or have a bad 2 or 3 weeks and go back to playing the way that they did to start the season, then you could have a problem with Anaheim or Edmonton catching them in the standings and taking that spot away. But as long as they play decent hockey and continue on the track that they're on, then I think they're going to be okay, and you're going to see them playing in the playoffs against either Calgary or San Jose, whoever finishes second in the first round. And they're not as good as they were last season. Vegas is not as good as they were last year. But they're still a solid hockey team. And when you have Marc-Andre Fleury in net, you have a chance to win every night. So Vegas has done a good job in climbing up the standings in a fairly short period of time in a wide open division, and they've done a good job in turning their season around, and we'll see if that can continue. So with that, like, comment, share, subscribe, follow on social media, check out offthewallhockey.com. All those links are down in the description below. If you'd like to further support Off the Wall Hockey, the link to our Patreon as well as our merchandise store are both down in the description. Keep spreading the word about this channel. Let's keep this thing growing. Thank you very much for watching, and I will talk to you guys soon.